Hey, this is Chris Maloney alongside Shawn Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling. It is Thursday, February the 6th. Hard to believe we're already into February already. Shawn with the puzzled look on his face.
It's flying by.
Yeah, to anybody first time joining us, thank you very much. We are TNT Thursday Night Throwdown, episode 6. And myself, I am your host. Shawn Bates is of the Scumbags of Wrestling, who's been... how many episodes are you now as far as your podcast goes?
Just finished 90. 91 is this weekend.
91 is this weekend.
Yep.
And then how many road trip shows you got going on so far?
Episode 6 is coming up this week as well. I'm just doing the recording of it, so everybody will know what's coming up this weekend and next weekend on the Ontario scene.
Very good. I am under the weather, but I am doing the show, so I'm going to hold it together the best I can. If my voice starts to crack, it's not me going through puberty, as you can see the big beard going on. I did discover something though, so I get all set, for the podcast or whatever the case may be, and then next thing you know, the lighting's great, and then I throw in the hat, and that's why the face looks dark, and then throw in the beard as well, and it's like, okay, so I think next week I'm going to ditch the hat, but I didn't have enough time this week, so. Anyways, that being that, this is, like I said, TNT Thursday Night Throwdown. Rundown of the show, of course, pro wrestling, followed by Canadian independent wrestling, as well as we've got special guests coming on later tonight. Carter Mason, King of the North, coming on later, probably about 8:30 or so. If you got any questions for Carter, let us know through the chat. Who you think is going to win this? Well, actually, I was going to say this coming weekend, but tomorrow night. So, big matches taking place, which we will get into. Like I said, pro wrestling first. Shawn, thoughts on Timothy Thatcher and Killer Kross being signed by the WWE Performance Center there?
Yeah, I've only heard a little bit of Thatcher, but I have seen that he might have been one of the original members of Imperium before WWE took over the scene in the UK. So if they pair him back up with Imperium, or even have him as an enemy, since now Imperium has 4, did they need more than members than that? So we'll have to see what happens going on with that. It's a good addition from what I've heard. And as far as Killer Kross, I'm a little worried about that. Everybody says he's a great promo, but I wasn't really impressed by him. I know it might be an unpopular view, but I wasn't impressed by him in Impact Wrestling. And seeing him come over to WWE, it's like, oh, what, are you going to be Baron Corbin's cousin with the same go-away heat type deal? It's understandable that he went to WWE and probably NXT before going to AEW, since his girlfriend, Scarlett Bordeaux, is part of NXT. So it's understandable, and keeping them together. Good move in their part. Hopefully they do something better than what I feel Impact failed with them.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate what happened with Impact. I mean, it was a long time coming. Honestly, God, I thought Killer Kross was going to sign with AEW, which kind of surprised me when I saw the news there. But one of the things that Tommy Dreamer had mentioned with regards to Killer Kross is that his in-ring work is great. It's the promo work. It's being that superstar, which is why he's going down to NXT. Do you see him as any kind of main event player at 34 years old a year from now?
Well, it depends on if they put him into a bodyguard sort of role that he seems to be destined for, in my opinion. But, he did start late, so did DDP. So anything's possible.
So here's a question for you. You talk about Imperium and whether or not they need any more guys. How about Killer Kross joining the Undisputed Era?
No, Undisputed Era just needs to be the 4. They have their history from Ring of Honor. Killer Kross doesn't have that sort of relation with them. It would be an odd fit.
So when he gets a WWE call-up, is it one of those things like a Ricochet type thing where he actually stays up, or is it Johnny Gargano style, one and done?
No, he'd be brought up because I see him being somebody that Vince McMahon is very interested in. Once again, it's like another Baron Corbin. And we clearly see how Vince McMahon is attached to Baron. So he'd be probably the same way with Killer Kross.
All right, so we're going to agree to disagree on this one because I like Killer Kross. So first time I ever got to see him, I think the only time I ever got to see him was back at the Impact tapings that we went to a couple of years ago. And he was with Austin Aries then. But he very nice guy. He's always online chatting and stuff like that. It's wish him nothing but the best. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Scarlett Bordeaux down there. Midwestern Wrestling. See, I can still see that, but I'm messing up other stuff. So there you go, Doug and Clarence. Anyways, we're moving on. So we go from Killer Kross signing and Timothy Thatcher signing. Thatcher's going to be a huge deal, I tell you that. But whether or not he gets the exposure that he deserves, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard thing because NXT UK only has that 1 hour, and they tape once a month ish. So you might only see him once or twice in a month. Though with the Worlds Collide, WWE kind of did find a way of shining a light on the UK brand after what they did with the regular NXT involving Survivor Series weekend. So both groups have gotten a good rub compared to where they were maybe even 6 months ago.
Now, did you know this? I didn't know this until yesterday. Kathy Kelly had posted a photo of, not Killer Kross, but Timothy Thatcher as well as Drew Gulak as a tag team champions, actually, for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Did you know that they were a team out there?
No, not at all.
So there you go. You can put Drew Gulak with them and kind of, like you just said, give them that rub immediately as far as the main roster goes. So we go from Killer Kross, Timothy Thatcher, into Goldberg coming back. Now, last time I think we had seen Goldberg was SummerSlam last year. Is that correct?
Yeah, when he destroyed Dolph Ziggler multiple times, and that was them trying to make up for the kind of botch, definitely botchamania that was going on with Undertaker and Goldberg at the last Saudi show.
Yeah, no, I tell you this, I loved it. So just seeing Goldberg live was kind of a cool experience for me, the bucket list. But the way they had done it, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, his music hits again, comes down to the ring, everything else. I thought it was a cool moment for him. Obviously, like you said, they were making up for that Saudi show against Taker. What do you think's in store for Goldberg tomorrow night on SmackDown?
Yeah, I'm not sure who he would even put him against at this moment. Looking at the heels that are on the SmackDown side of things, is this where, mentioning Baron Corbin again, but is this where Baron Corbin gets used? Because they have to jet him off somewhere from the whole Roman Reigns thing. If Roman is going to be going potentially against Bray Wyatt coming up WrestleMania, they have to be separated. It's gone on too long. Goldberg could have Baron Corbin or Dolph Ziggler again.
Yeah, which, it already happened. Leave it there. We'll go into some AEW versus NXT. So results ratings came out 928 for AEW this week. So they got a bump versus NXT 770. One of the things I read today, and I forget where I read it, was that somebody from WWE said AEW is not making NXT change who they are. Agree or disagree?
I haven't really seen any change with NXT, except for the fact that they're live in an extra hour compared to what they had been. They seem to be staying the course of what they were when they were just taping once a month at Full Sail and producing stories. Now, it's interesting that this next TakeOver is going to have 6 matches, while TakeOvers normally only have 5, but that's the only significant change that I've seen. They're still going ahead, and they got the big push from the Survivor Series weekend and even Royal Rumble with having Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair and stuff, characters like them, Matt Riddle being a part of the Rumble.
Yeah, so we got a number one fan already commenting for this show. Jonesy, just call him Oldberg. So, come up with a better one there, Jones. Anyways, so we'll go into AEW versus NXT. Did you see AEW last night?
Yeah, I saw most of it. I got home a little bit late with the start of it because I was over at the factory, but I've been able to catch up. It seemed to be a decent show. Definitely fueled by the ending. But
that was harsh as a wrestling fan.
Yeah, the 8-man tag team match was really good, and the fans have really also taken to Britt Baker finally as a heel.
So your thoughts on 3 things. Number 1, Britt Baker is a heel. Number 2, Pentagon and Rey Fenix actually going over in that 8-man tag team match, and as well as number 3, what the hell? Oh, Pac and the whole big thing in Rio yesterday.
Going in reverse order, Pac with Rio. He didn't touch her, so he kept his word there. I don't think many people realized or remembered his beating of Michael Nakazawa. Yes, I remembered his name, but they. I didn't see that being something that pushed Kenny over the limit, but he is very protective of Rio, and so them doing this, even though he's in the middle of a tag team run, which is ultimately going to set up probably him and Hangman in the end feuding. This at least puts the rubber match between him and Pac out there. They're going to do it 30-minute Iron Man match on TNT during Dynamite. And so you'll get probably a lot of picture-in-picture during that match. But it ends that so they can move forward and eventually pull the trigger on what's going to happen with Kenny and Hangman against the Young Bucks. Kenny being put in the middle and having decide between the members of the Elite, which, as I just said, is ultimately going to end up in Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega.
So, do you see Hangman becoming a major star for AEW?
Oh, yeah, he's totally over with the fans right now. The whole drinking thing, magically coming up with a pitcher of beer after he has his cup of beer taken by Matt Jackson. The fans love what he's doing right now. Who else did the crowd surfing on the Norwegian Pearl during that boat episode? It was Hangman Page. So I think he's definitely over with the fans. It's going to be interesting how they finally pull the trigger on that turn, and if the fans will even buy into it, like they have with Britt Baker. So shifting into your other one of the three comments, people weren't buying into her as her face character. Nobody really likes a dentist. So if she's able to play that up, that's why Isaac Yankem, in theory, could have worked. But, her being a legit dentist, doing that curb stomp on the ropes, you could definitely see the referee get in there and give the whole blood capsule and the tooth thing. They didn't cut away from that quickly enough, but it still gave a good impact. She got the heel heat, and she didn't have to cut a promo on another announcer being lame at their job.
All right, so the joys of live podcasting are this. So my wife just got home, and she has got her key stuck in the door. And I'm currently watching her smile as she does this. But this is hilarious. So Shawn, I'm going to give you a small topic there. Maybe your thoughts on Dark Order and how they're doing right now, and who you see them putting as their main guy there. As I'm watching my wife still struggle. So you'll be able to see my backdrop a little bit better. I kind of spiced it up a little bit. She might have broke it off in the...
Oh, that's pretty good.
Okay. I got to go see what's going on. Okay.
He is going to drop out. The whole thing with Dark Order, I would have liked to have seen them get a little bit bigger build up before they got put on TV, because guys in our area, whether it's Ontario, Quebec, or even, definitely Ontario and Quebec, and a little bit of Buffalo, they know the Super Smash Brothers, and we popped hard for them being there. Oh, and Ryan Knight is watching. We also had James watching as well. So anybody who's watching, thanks, give us a shout out. But as I was saying, Dark Order, we popped hard for them because we knew who they were. The rest of the guys are not known, so they need to reestablish somehow, and I think they've been doing that with the check with your doctor if Dark Order is good for you, the whole join the Dark Order. I don't know what they're going to do ultimately with the Exalted one. They're playing it way too hard for it to look like it's going to be Christopher Daniels, but at the same time, Christopher Daniels was supposed to be the leader of the ministry when he was very young. So they might be trying to do what WWE didn't do with Christopher Daniels and have him in the role of the Exalted One. If not, then it could be Matt Hardy. Who knows? I think they're going to try and stretch it out as long as they can to figure out who is available and who isn't for that role. And then finally, when they have to, they'll go ahead and reveal who it is. Hopefully it doesn't fall flat and it's something worthwhile, but you never know.
So, 2 comments. Number 1, it took me a good 30 seconds to be able to do that. Number 2, my wife is smarter than me though, so I got to make sure that this podcast, when it's happening, it's bad enough we got cats rolling around this place, but she had that key pretty much jammed in there. So a good thing I was home, I guess. So anyways, like I said, the joys of live podcasting. You had mentioned Matt Hardy. I'd love to see that myself. Whether or not it happens, I don't know. He is really good at playing the internet, just same way Chris Jericho is. But again,
at the same time, it has that broken Matt Hardy sort of character. Whether they freshen it up with the Dark Order, is that relevant in 2020 compared to what it was when it was hot in Impact Wrestling?
Goldberg's relevant in 2020, so I guess it remains to be seen. So I'll give you 2 dates. I'm going to test your knowledge here. So, and you might already know this one because I posted on the Scumbags group, but 32 years ago yesterday, what took place?
Well, that'd be the double Hebner taking the belt off Hogan, giving it to Andre, and Andre surrendering it to DiBiase, ultimately leaving the belt vacant for WrestleMania 4.
So, where were you when it happened? Did you watch it live? And your thoughts on WrestleMania 4, and would Savage had gained that much momentum without that happening on the main event?
Well, I was watching it live. I was 12 years old, and I was like huge mark out for that. I wasn't a Hogan fan, so I loved in a way that, and oddly enough, like Ted DiBiase with the whole shtick he had. So him buying the title was awesome. Them making it vacant and putting it in line for the tournament. Thankfully, it didn't telegraph itself to being given back to Hogan, and Savage came out on top. They needed to build somebody up for Hogan, which was great. And Savage is what got me watching wrestling to begin with. So it was perfect for a 12-year-old kid such as myself, who had been only watching about 2 years at that point.
Yeah, so you talk about relevance. Soul Train Jones, I saw him on that video clip yesterday as well.
Oh, yes, good old Virgil.
Yeah, 32 years ago, he was still relevant. All right, so that's date number 1. Date number 2, this coming Saturday, February the 8th. What takes place?
February 8th? I only know it's February 7th. What's February 8th?
So Saturday, February 8th, time 2 p.m., network TSN3, Seattle at DC. What does that mean?
Oh, okay. So there you go. Thank you. That would be the debut of the XFL, which, TSN did a whole lot of advertising for it here in Canada during AEW yesterday because it's going to be on TSN. Surprisingly, it was not advertised a lot during Raw or even during Super Bowl and SmackDown this past week because it's going to be on Fox, but maybe that also has to deal with the fact that one of the shareholders is suing WWE and Vince McMahon, thinking that the XFL and the WWE are the same entity, which may or may not be true, but Vince is trying, at least publicly, hard to make sure that it's 2 different companies, WWE and Alpha.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not they last longer than a year. I think they will this time. As long as they don't put the names "He Hate Me" on the back of any kind of jerseys, that would be cool. It is kind of interesting to know that AEW is on TSN as well as XFL is on TSN. But I mean, they are a sports network, but I guess right there probably says no conflict of interest because it is a different company running the XFL. It's not WWE.
Exactly.
Even though you get the figureheads, though.
Yeah, it might be owned by Vince McMahon and his vision, but I think, as you said, this time it might have a better shot at existing and surviving because of the fact that he's taken a lot more time, like about 2 years, to build it up, as opposed to just, hey, I want to do football and bam, here we go. These guys have actually been working out, training, figuring out plays, gelling as a team. Hopefully they're not doing anything stupid with He Hate Me, not pulling in former WWE and current WWE announcers to be your announcers. Hopefully they're actually football people. And yes, even though the Super Bowl did it just this past Sunday with Dwayne Johnson welcoming people. The original XFL did that. Hopefully they don't do that again with this Saturday's debut of the XFL, with having a wrestler, even if it's John Cena, welcoming people, because that's going to blur the lines, and the non-wrestling fans out there are going to crap on it and not enjoy football. I know they have a lot of different rule changes as well that are hopefully going to spark some interest. And he's also not going after the NFL saying we're better than them. And that was a downfall the last time.
Yeah, so 3 more small topics on pro before we hit the Canadian independent scene. I just want to say hey to Ed, a guy I work with at my work. Was on a couple of weeks ago as well. Didn't bypass him on purpose, but I just want to say hey back to you. So number 1, Ruthless Aggression docuseries on the WWE Network. Vince McMahon changing up potentially the WWE Network, as well as are we ever going to get to see the Velveteen Dream on the main roster? So just quick thoughts on those 3 things.
The Ruthless Aggression docu-series should be interesting to see how they explain things away, because, obviously without the competition, ratings went down. They did the brand splits. You even saw Bruce Pritchard on that clip, if anybody's seen it, saying about they knew that ratings were going to go down and they needed somebody to step up, and that's where they showed John Cena as the new character, and he's the first one who said, I have ruthless aggression. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one. I watched all the Monday Night War documentaries that they did, and I have the DVDs for that. So looking forward to that one. What were your other questions? Changing up of the network? Maybe this is when they start doing the tier pricing, and we get people who get free stuff, people who only get pay-per-views. I don't know how that'll affect us here in Canada, since it's actually on Rogers and other cable outlets, as opposed to in the United States where you have to download it and get it off the internet and their app and everything else. So it could be different. And what was your last one?
Velveteen Dream, are we ever going to see him on the main roster?
Do we want to see him on the main roster?
Are we still back at that, thinking that all of a sudden Vince is going to ruin him?
No, not necessarily, but we've already seen some guys be brought up like Ricochet and Aleister Black, and they're still a little bit spinning their tires. You have Adam Cole saying he wants to keep the Undisputed Era on NXT, and you can't really deplete NXT anymore because of the fact that, they're now being positioned as a viable third brand, not just a developmental place. So if you keep on picking off people and putting them on what people still claim as the main roster, you're going to end up watering down NXT when they still are potentially worried about AEW.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that one, because the fact is you've got 2 champions down there in Adam Cole and Rhea Ripley, as well as everybody else that's part of that brand, including Keith Lee, who I newfound respect for when I watched him in the Royal Rumble. But yeah, keep it a third brand, keep it strong, and maybe not necessarily always have them go against AEW, but the fact is you've still got a third contingency that's down there. So very good as far as wrestling went this week. I am interesting to see what's going to happen with Goldberg tomorrow night on SmackDown. But from pro, we go to indie. That is my hashtag there. We are CIW, we are Canadian Independent Wrestling. So I'm going to do what I do best, and that's run down the Canadian Independent shows for this weekend. Shawn, correct me, because you probably got 1 or 2 more for the Ontario Indies. But here we go. So Canadian Independent Wrestling taking place starting tomorrow. So LDDC present Big in Japan and Montreal, Quebec. That's tomorrow. And Old to No One by Hustlebrand Wrestling in Barrie, Ontario tomorrow as well. RCW presents Can-Am Retro for Rhett in Calgary, Alberta. That's Friday. Anything I'm missing?
No, because you mentioned Smash.
Yeah, the Smash I'm going to do at the very end, just because we're doing the whole lead-in thing.
Exactly.
All right, so Saturday, quite a few more actually. Ultimate Championship Wrestling Road to the 13th anniversary in Halifax, Nova Scotia. IWS presents Praise the Violence 2020, Montreal, Quebec. IWS is where Kevin Owens came from. Loot NCAW Wrestling, Silarut, Hivernal in Coteau du Lac, Quebec. Hopefully my French is getting better. FLQ Wrestling presents Cold Wars 2020 featuring Lufisto versus Nyla Rose in Montreal, Quebec. That's on Saturday. We had talked about that last week. Loot NSPW in St. Casimir, Quebec, taking place Saturday as well. Prairie Wrestling Alliance presents Evolution in Calgary, Alberta. Big West Wrestling presents Edge of Glory in Summerland, BC. ECCW Grand Theft Gimmicks in New Westminster, BC on February 8th as well. Anything I'm missing there?
Nope, I don't actually have anything in Ontario for Saturday.
No, very good. So 2 for 2. And then obviously Sunday, I didn't see any shows taking place. Any idea?
I did have one. That's the only one that I have is Championship Wrestling from Ontario, returning to the Rock Pile for My Bloody Valentine. And they're also, because of timing, going to be at the Rock Pile on Thursday the 13th for Thursday Night Slam.
All right, very good. And then, of course, from there, the one I did leave off, and that is Smash New Beginnings taking place tomorrow night. I'm going to do a full rundown right here. We've got Carter Mason on the line who has just signed in, so we'll get him on the line just very shortly here. But Smash Wrestling presents New Beginnings Friday, February 7th, 2020, Forwell Hall at Fanshawe College in London, Ontario. Doors at 7, bell time at 8. Tickets are $20. Fanshawe student tickets are $10. Smash-wrestling.com. Rundown that I've seen, and Shawn, I don't know if you add anything to this, but lifeguard Joshua Pine versus Psycho Mike Rollins. The endorsement Sebastian Suave taking on Jordan James. Tarek taking on Alec Realm. Halal Beefcake versus Death Threat Army, who believe are new to Smash Wrestling, and that's for the Smash Wrestling Tag Team Championship. Remix of Professional Wrestling, Kevin Bennett taking on Brent Moneybanks for the Smash Wrestling Championship. And then what I classify as the main event, Wrestling Machine Tyson Dukes taking on King of the North Carter Mason in a street fight. Winner goes on to Any Given Sunday 8 to challenge Kevin Bennett, or in this case, Brett Bags for the Smash Wrestling Championship. Any matches that you know of that I've missed?
I have found out yesterday while hanging out at the factory that the dark match is going to see the debut of Jay Loon, and he's going to be teaming up with Chris Mitchells and Ethan Dukes to take on the team of Bella Bronx, Michael Grayson, and Rodney Matthews in 6-person tag team action.
So
those are all talent from the factory, which are going to basically kick off the show.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a spoiler right there for people who aren't aware of it. I'm going to play an audio clip right here. This is something I found online just earlier today that leads into Smash Wrestling tomorrow night. So here it goes.
Let's cut to the chase, Tyson, because we both know we're at the point of no return. You dodged me for months. You were my best friend when I was at the top of the Indies. And when I needed you most, you abandoned me. Bitch, you put your hands on my mother. You should be thankful that I didn't show up to your house over Christmas and beat you within an inch of your life in front of your family like you tried to do to me. You should be thankful that Ethan has debuted, because as of Friday, he will be the only Dukes remaining in professional wrestling. Tyson, I'm going to beat you within that inch of your life. You might be the godfather of Canadian wrestling. You might be the cyborg. You might be the wrestling machine. I'm the Canadian Capo. I'm the new Nino. I'm the King of the North. And on Friday, at Fanshawe College, Tyson Dukes. I'm your final chapter.
So, Shawn, have you heard that promo before?
Yeah, I heard that the other day when Carter Mason put that up. A lot of strong words coming from Mason. He has a lot on his mind. I was there when he got the respect and was going after Dukes with the Northern tournament, and unfortunately didn't succeed. But when Dukes was supposed to go against Jason Kincaid, Mason kept on poking and prodding, got himself into a triple threat match with them for Super Showdown. He picked up the victory, got the respect from Tyson, or so we thought, He invited his mom into the ring right there in front of his mom. Tyson ended up waffling Carter with the chair and then went after his mom, as Carter just said. Tyson even helped Carter's mom into the ring and then did that whole backstabbing thing. Whether he got the respect or not, ever since then, these two guys cannot be in the same building without brawling. And it's all coming to a head this Friday at Fanshawe College.
All right. So he is the Smash 2019 Breakout Performer of the Year, also the 2019 Upstate Pro Wrestling Wrestler of the Year. Calls himself the true King of the North, professional wrestler, as well as a music artist, which I'm kind of curious about. We saw him this last summer be put through a table through Killian Dane as well as Matt Riddell, and then take on the Viking Raiders alongside Sebastian Suave on Raw. So good to see if we can get Carter Mason on the line here.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Carter, you're with us. How you doing?
I am. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Shawn.
Yeah, good to see you or hear from you, Carter. Looking forward to seeing you in person tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing. Are you both going to be there, or?
Yeah, we're both actually there. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you both then.
All right, so we're gonna get into some focus as far as tomorrow night goes, but I just want to get some basic information just from you here. What was your training like when you're coming in? Now I know Tyson had a little bit of influence in there, but who are you officially trained by?
I was officially trained by Johnny Devine. That was my official trainer, and then, like you said, with a big influence by Tyson Dux there.
All right. Now, do you remember your first match?
My first match ever. Actually, I remember both. If you're going to class, actually, we'll say all three. I had an interesting little journey. So before I trained officially with Johnny Devine, I had my first bump in a wrestling ring when I was 14 years old. That's when my first official practice was. And that was at like a tiny little school in Hamilton. So I was there for a couple of years, and there were a lot of exhibition, we'll call them, events, very similar to what Rip Impact's doing currently in Hamilton with his students. So my first match there was with a guy named Jeff Flurry. You guys may or may not know of him. He was a staple at UWA Hardcore for a while. Then I started training with Johnny Devine. But when I went to my first practice with Devine, you actually had to try out to train with him. He actually only took on 4 or 5 of us, I believe. 2 of the others being Josh Alexander and Psycho Mike Rollins. So he agreed to train me, but I had to agree to stop wrestling until my body and my weight reached a certain physique level, which I agreed to. So my first match back after that was against Psycho Mike Rollins in Oshawa. And it wasn't actually my full official match. It was kind of like a reward for working really hard. So I got to have that match after a couple months and then had to wait another few months. Then I got my full green light and my first official match back and full bloom. I was 18 and it was actually for WXW in Germany. And it was a 4-way with Mark Rudin, Thumbtack Jack, and Gabriel Angel Fire. I'm surprised I remembered all that without looking it up.
Very, very good. So who are your influences when you're kind of a kid there? Like, have you always followed wrestling, or is it something that was kind of new to you?
So I started watching maybe a little bit later than like the typical person. I discovered it accidentally. I was just flipping channels on the TV and saw it and was intrigued. And, well, let me give this a shot. And here we are, whatever it is, 20 years later. So I started watching, I believe I was 9 or 10 was the first time I started watching. And my influences, once I started wrestling, were very different than when I was watching as just strictly a fan. So as strictly a fan, when I was a young kid, it was pretty much the same as everyone else. It was The Rock, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, all the Attitude Era guys. Once I started wrestling at the beginning, actually Austin Aries was a huge influence at the beginning. But 2 guys that have been with me from the start to currently, and I really would say I'm influenced by and motivated by and inspired by are Guerrero and Jericho.
No, we're talking Guerrero. Are we talking Chavo? Or are we talking Eddie?
Eddie
for sure.
No disrespect, Chavo. Chavo's incredible as well, but Eddie's my guy.
So yeah, come on. If it was Chavo, he'd have a stick horse.
I say, plead the fifth. I'm saying nothing. Shawn was awesome, and he's just my guy. Tiger Mask was also in there, a big portion as well.
So you mentioned the Attitude Era, Stone Cold and The Rock. I got to get your thoughts because, I mean, everybody had seen the videos online as well as watching live on TakeOver last year. What were your thoughts going into TakeOver and then going into Raw that same couple days?
It all just kind of happened because it's not like it's not so Super Showdown was Friday night and then TakeOver was Saturday. So it's not like on Friday they emailed me and were like, all right, on Saturday at TakeOver, you're going to be going to a table from Matt Riddle and Killian Dane, right? So I was there. I was just kind of enjoying the moment. It was my first experience with them ever. And I went from being in a part of Mia Yim's entrance to being taken out of that to being put through a table, you know? So I was kind of just going with the flow. And after that, I expected that to be my week, my 4 days, my weekend. I was still booked to be there for the next 3 through SummerSlam, Raw, and SmackDown. But I didn't expect to be a part of anything further. And then Monday rolled around. At SummerSlam, I just hung out. I caught up with a few people I'd known for a while and hadn't seen for many years, and just hung out. Aside from that, Monday was the same thing. And then I was lucky enough that Abyss remembered both myself and Sebastian. He ended up being the one that put me in that match, and the rest was history. So, I mean, it was incredible, but I didn't really have a lot of time to. I don't want to say process, but I mean, to be knocked back by it or whatever. It was kind of, this is what we're doing. You need to get ready now, and there you go. If anything, it maybe hit me a week or two later. But the whole experience was more than I could have ever imagined. I think that's anything I had imagined for that experience being my first experience with WWE, watching as a child to getting to that moment, better than anything I could have ever imagined.
All right, so I got to ask you about this. So we were there for SummerSlam as well as a lot of the shows taking place at the Met that week. Sebastian Suave looked like he was running around with like a chicken with his head cut off, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, we see him on the TakeOver show that Saturday night, and then we see him on Raw with you that following Monday. What are your thoughts on Sebastian Suave, the legacy he's had with Smash Wrestling, and just as a person outside of his character as well?
I don't know how to answer that because I don't want to ruin like this bad guy rep he's putting out there. But Sebastian Suave is one of my favorite people in and out of wrestling. He does not get the credit that he deserves as a promoter or as a wrestler. He's helped me a lot in and out of wrestling. When I needed a friend, he was a friend. And when I needed a chance and an opportunity and someone to give me that, he did so. I can't speak highly enough about him. And I say Abyss was a big factor to that match, but to me getting that match on Raw, but Sebastian was an even bigger factor. And I would not have had that tag match without Sebastian Suave. And that's absolute fact. So he's a great guy. I love him to death. And I hope that he gets his due.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you said Abyss was who set up that match, but did they contact you directly, or was it through, well, in this case, maybe Sebastian or somebody else that set it up that you were working that weekend with WWE?
So we were both already booked to be at all 4 events, but being booked to be at the events doesn't mean that you're booked to do a match or booked to go through a table. You're booked to be on standby essentially in case they need someone, right? So that's what I mean. On Friday night, I didn't know I was going through a table on Saturday. I found out a couple hours before the show went live that I was going through a table kind of deal, So Seb and I were both already planned to be there all 4 days. Monday being the 3rd day, we were all kind of a bit tired. Everyone from the extras to the main roster to, I'm sure, Vince and everyone else, even more so than us. But we're just a bit tired, so we're all just kind of hanging out. I remember that I had been sitting in the crowd before doors was open, so just in the seats there for maybe an hour, and I just wanted to get up to stretch my legs. So I got up, was walking around, and went into our changing room briefly, just sat down, started charging my phone. Not 5 minutes later, Seb came in and went, "You need to come with me now." We both walked up to Abyss, and the rest was history.
Very cool. And as they always say, bring your gear.
Yeah,
You're
well,
ready.
yes. That's already you're told to do that before when you're invited down.
Yeah.
But it's not a guarantee that you'll be using it, right? So that was an incredible surprise, and again, in big part due to Sebastian, because he didn't have to come grab me.
All right, 2 more quick questions for you before we get into the show tomorrow night. Number 1, you're in tremendous shape. Do you ever take a cheat day?
I do. Funny enough, thank you very kindly. I actually just started a new program again. I've rededicated to my diet and my training. Right before my injury, whatever it was, a year and a half ago now, 2 years ago, whatever it was, I was in the best shape of my life, and then that injury really messed me up and slowed me down and knocked me back a bit. So it's taking me a bit to get my steam back. I have gotten it back now, and so it's been 10 days since my new program started, and I get my cheat day on the 11th, which means that after I kick the shit out of Tyson Dux, I get to go eat a pizza and drink beer. It's going to be awesome.
Nice. All right. And on your Twitter itself, True King of the North, professional wrestler, music artist. What is the music artist thing?
I've been writing like poetry and music since grade 6 time, pretty much the same time I started watching wrestling, actually, give or take. Sorry, excuse me. So yeah, I've been writing music since then. I've produced a couple of different mixtapes, and I have a current one in production.
Very good. I'm going to read something first, and then I'm going to play a video. You're able to hear us okay, eh?
Yeah, I can hear and see you guys great.
Okay, and I'll get your comments on this. So I'm just going to read this. You might know where this has come from. So, I can't express how much this man has done for me from 16 years old to just a few minutes ago. As far as male influences go, both in and out of the ring, this man is an example of how to live your life and treat others. I'm thankful for his friendship, thankful for his respect. I'm thankful he gave a skinny little 16-year-old a chance when nobody else would. So I'm just going to quickly play a video here, and I'm going to get your thoughts on this.
Almost
at it.
Forget to hit the share audio button. Joys of technology. There we go.
I don't need a setup. I don't need a props. I don't need smoke. I don't need mirrors. I don't need any of the lighting. I don't need no backdrops. I got my school right here. That's all I need. This is all I need to do. I got to be real. I'm going to be real with you people. I'm going to be real with you, Mason. I'm going to be really real. And the way I'm going to be real with you is I'm going to end this on Friday. This Friday, I'm done. I'm done playing. I'm done messing with you. All the cutesy little whips, all the cutesy little jumps and knees that you do, your pretty little knees, your little flippy kicks. I don't care what you bring to the table. Bring it on. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and the smoke clears, and the dust settles, and all the other cliche nonsense that professional wrestlers say, it's done. There's no more to it. It's a street fight. I'm a wrestler. This is what I do. I wrestle. That's more dangerous than anything you could put on the street. Because when I grab you and I throw you and I make sure that you don't get up, that'll be the end of it. Plain and simple.
All right, so we've seen you guys go at it in Toronto. We've seen you guys go at it here in London. Carter, your thoughts on what Tyson had just said?
Real. It's funny he chooses to use that word because that man hasn't been real a day in his life. He wants to be real. I'll be real, Tyson. You're a washed up old man with gray hair. It's time for you to be retired. And that's real. So tomorrow, I have no problem retiring you. I don't suggest you talk street because you better than anyone know my background, know my history, and know that I'm welcome in pretty much any street in Toronto that many wrestlers, I don't know any other wrestler in this country can say. So I don't care how real you think you are. I'm going to show you how real you aren't tomorrow.
All right. So once you beat Tyson, we're going to be on your side for this one. Who do you want to see at any given Sunday? You want to see Brent Banks, or you want to see Kevin Bennett as far as that championship match goes?
Tough, because both are awesome. I want to say Brent's because I've wrestled him before, and anytime we bring out a war in one another. It's always hard hitting. It's always competitive. I think I'm going to say Bennett because he and I have never wrestled before.
Yeah, I think that just with what you said and your writing of music, it's almost like two the same people, you and Kevin Bennett. So if this will be your first time meeting up, if everything falls into place for any given Sunday, the promos between you two are going to be mind-blowing, I think, just rapping on each other.
That's the plan. But he has to get through Sunday, he has to get through tomorrow first.
All right. Smash Wrestling New Beginnings takes place tomorrow night. Doors at 7, bill time at 8. Like I said, tickets $20, $10 for Fanshawe students. Carter, what's the best way people get in touch with you online if they want to get in touch with you?
Usually Facebook, any of my social media. I check it all periodically. And when I say periodically, I mean usually at least once a day or every other day. So Twitter and Instagram are both Mason Wrestling, at Mason Wrestling, one word. And then my Facebook is just Carter Mason.
All right, cool. Shawn, any follow-up questions for you?
No, just awesome that you were able to join us, and definitely look forward to seeing how the street fight goes with you and Tyson. Tyson's going to have a hard time handling you, I feel. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. It would be great if your mom was able to be in attendance and, get a little retribution on her own, but I'm not sure if she's going to make it down to London for it.
I'm trying to get her to, but we're going to have to see. I am trying.
It all depends, I guess, on the weather.
But yeah, unfortunately, it's not looking great, but we will see.
Yeah. I know King City pretty well in the distance because my college actually was in King City at Seneca. So,
okay, yeah.
Hearing you being from there is kind of cool, and I'm like, I know that place. But yeah, definitely look forward to seeing you here in London tomorrow and kicking some ass.
I will definitely be there, and I will definitely be kicking some ass. I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, so he is the 2019 Breakout Star of the Year for Smash Wrestling, and all the best tomorrow night there, Carter, and we'll see you tomorrow, okay?
I appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much.
Have a good one.
So that was Carter Mason. Looking forward to watching him. And actually, hold on. Ed, it's going to be a great match. Ed has never been to a Smash show, but the plan is to try to get him to one. I want to get him to the music hall. Fanshawe is a little bit different as far as the music hall goes, and Shawn, you probably completely agree. I love the theater aspect, the television aspect of the music hall. The setup alone is absolutely amazing. It's the best Smash venue I've been at. But Ed, definitely bucket list next month or 2 months. Going to get you out to a show, and we'll see what we can do there. Shawn, what's beyond the Carter Mason as Tyson Dux match that's taking place? Not too bad. I thought I was going to sneeze. Anyways, what match are you looking forward to the most tomorrow night?
Oh, well, sorry, just bumped my computer. I was at the factory yesterday and got a chance to chat it up with Alec Realm. And so, Alec Realm and Tarek, that's going to be interesting. I believe he has some comments from Mr. Realm about his match and just the intensity that he has. Yeah, you're going to want to see this one for sure.
All right,
so I think you're getting that up. But yeah, even Psycho Mike, like you can't go wrong with a Psycho Mike match, and him against the lifeguard Josh Pine. The last time we saw these two anywhere near each other was at the music hall during Remix You a Merry Christmas, and Josh had to save Psycho Mike from drowning in a kiddie pool. So
yeah, that was
what's going to happen tomorrow is going to be awesome.
All right, so I'm just going to change the backdrop here. Still getting used to this. I think I'm getting better. Midwestern, see, there we go. I screwed it up. But anyways, just an inside joke as far as the show goes here. But there's the New Beginnings banner behind us there. I'm going to bring up the Alec Realm promo that Shawn was talking about there. Shawn, you had recorded these a couple days ago, or was it yesterday?
Last night.
Just last night, eh?
Yep. I was hanging out at the factory, looking to get some more matches for the production line, which there's 20 episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But right now, the students are working on fundamentals, and that's more important than just me recording matches for YouTube.
All right. So speaking of students, we got a veteran student right here. I'm just gonna play this play this clip. This ain't LA. There's no no gang warfare going on in the show that I'm aware of. I'll play this clip and then maybe get Shawn your thoughts on Alex's promo, as well as I'm gonna put it. Actually, I'll put it to you right now, and then we'll watch the clip and think on this for a second. Are we gonna see the end of the revolt start to happen tomorrow night? I'm gonna play the clip and then get your thoughts on everything.
You know, a lot can happen in just 2 short years, especially in the wrestling business. Just 2 short years ago, I wasn't even in this business. I was just a fan watching from the sidelines. And as I went to every single independent wrestling show that I could, I knew one day without a shadow of a doubt that Smash Wrestling was the company that I wanted to work for. So this past Christmas, to be standing in the ring with the partner that I debuted with, Jordan James, and be holding those Smash Wrestling tag team titles above our heads, it felt like validation. And not even just that, to look out into the crowd and see all my friends and family that I had shared, you know, all these good times and beers and laughs with, but that felt like validation as well. So to have those title belts just taken off us, 30 minutes after we had won them, and for me to not even be able to get Jordan James on the phone, I don't know if anybody has gotten a hold of this guy. I now, for the first time in my short career, have to look at myself and figure out where we're going to go from here. Because I don't know what the state of the revolt is. I have no idea. That's all anybody asks me. Where's Jordan? What's the revolt at? What's your next move? I have no idea. Which brings me to this Friday and my opponent, Tarek. Now, Tarek, last time you and I were in the ring together, you nearly took my head off with a guillotine knee while my trainer held me in a Boston Crab. Now, if you think I've just forgotten that or just displaced it from my memory, you're sadly mistaken, Tarek. And if you think this Friday is just going to be an easy day at the office, my man, you better pack a lunch because it's going to be a long night. You need to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, who needs this match more, me or you? Because this Friday, you better bet your ass that I'm coming for your head.
Shawn, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, he brought up a lot of good points in that. Him and Jordan James climbed the ladder, had numerous opportunities to try and get the belts off of Halal Beefcake. Halal Beefcake actually just celebrated a 1-year anniversary of taking the titles off the pillars, and they finally did it, only to find out that, oops, Jordan James had a little extra in his water, and they gave the titles back to them less than 30 minutes after holding them and having the best celebration ever. To go into intermission, so many people were reaching out to them and congratulating them, and now they don't have the belts. And now you're hearing that Alec hasn't been able to contact Jordan. He's not answering the phone. Where they go from here, who knows? Tomorrow night, they're going to be in the same building, so hopefully this is going to be an opportunity for Alec and Jordan to reach out to each other and try and figure things out. Does the revolt move forward? One will hope so, but if not, this match against Tarek is hugely important. Everybody knows Tarek's reputation, Mr. Punch, Kick, Chop. You know, he's a former Smash Wrestling champion. He has nothing to lose. He's one of the pillars of the wrestling business in Ontario and independent wrestling in the area, for that matter, Quebec, Maritimes. Alec Realm has a lot to prove, and he's going to go out there and try his best. Whether he continues with the revolt or has to go out there singles, he has to make a statement tomorrow night.
All right. So as you're saying that, Tarek's staring a hole on you again, by the way. But anyways, it should be a good match. I think, and I was thinking about this, I think right where we're prepping for this show is I think we see the end of the revolt tomorrow. At least the beginning of the end of the revolt. I can see any given Sunday, I can see them going at each other. But with Alec cutting that promo saying he didn't talk to Jordan James, and they've been teaming since day one, haven't they?
Yeah, they were they're two of the original 6 that started off at the Velodrome here in London, right behind the track where Tyson started the factory, and has been with the factory ever since they moved to Exeter Road, and they're going to be still around when they move to St. Thomas at Tyson's actual home. Like, these are guys that are going to be the foundation to bring in the newer students and help them learn, because they've already learned under the tree of Tyson Dux. Now, with them not knowing where they stand and haven't talked for now over a month, because that happened before Christmas, who knows what's the future for the Revolt.
All right, 5 seconds. Who are the original 6?
Original 6 would be Realm, Boone, Strider, Jordan James, Violet Lee, and Chris Mitchells.
There we go. So, Shawn, anybody out there ever wants to find out as far as Tyson Dux' wrestling school goes, or the students, or what they're up to, or matches that aren't going to take place, or at least we don't think they're going to take place because they're unannounced, and Shawn just has that info, reach out to him, because he's pretty good when it comes to that stuff. And the best way to reach out to Shawn is right here. Scumbags of Wrestling, hashtag We Are Scumbags. Facebook group is down below there. Pretty simple, self-explanatory there.
And we're just 8 people away from having 400. So share it with friends.
Maybe we can
400, 500 by the end of the year. Let's build up the Scumbags Wrestling on Facebook. We're also on our YouTube channel for everything.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think last time I checked, you were at 392. So like, holy crap! So maybe by tomorrow night we'll be able to reach 400. But like I said, this was the Smash Wrestling preview for New Beginnings, taking place again tomorrow night, Forwell Hall, Fanshawe College. Doors at 7, bell time at 8. Tickets are $20 and $10 if you're a student. Smash-wrestling.com. And the Wrestling Machine Tyson Dux taking on our guest tonight, King of the North Carter Mason, in a street fight where the winner goes on to Any Given Sunday 8, challenge Kevin Bennett or Brent Banks for the Smash Wrestling Championship. And Shawn, what's the date on that February show there?
February 23rd. It's going to be at the Rec Room in Toronto. So I believe that's going to be my first time at the Rec Room. I believe it's at near the base of the CN Tower. So in that area. That'll be the first time for there. I know they've been through it a bunch of times. They did the Rec Room Rumble last year, I believe. I'm definitely looking forward to that. But we got to get through this huge battle coming up between Tyson and Carter Mason. Only one's going to be left standing, and that one's going to be the number 1 contender for whoever walks out of the championship match. Now,
well, hold on. What do you mean, whoever? This isn't that type of show. Make your predictions. Those 2 matches right there. So the co-main event, so to speak, going into Any Given Sunday 8. Who's going for that championship in Toronto?
It's such a tough call, man. You know, do I go against Tyson? I hang out at his factory, and we've been in touch with him about doing the whole reffing gig.
What is Carter Mason?
Do I go against him and risk everything, like even being locked out of the factory?
Is Carter Mason right, though? Is Tyson too old to be doing anything anymore?
Anything's possible. Like, as I said to Joe Coleman before, when he's boasting about the fact that he's still the tag team champion, it takes 3 seconds, man. Anybody could lose regardless of age. Carter Mason, love you. That's why we had you on here. But is this going to happen? Fanshawe? I think so. You know, he is so determined. He earned the respect. So, yes, if you're going to push me to the limit.
You see this model spinning? That's like your answer right now, okay? You're going around in circles.
I am going to go with Carter Mason. Risk getting locked out of the factory, but I am going for Mason. He's proved himself at the Northern Tournament, at any given Super Showdown, and who knows? He could be the next Smash Wrestling champion as of February 23rd. Who he's going to go against? I love Brent Banks, but the dream match that's never happened, Remix and Carter.
Right there behind me.
Yeah, the battle of the rap. It's going to be a fun couple of weeks leading up to it. So if you're going to push me, those are my predictions.
2020, I'm going Kevin Bennett versus Carter Mason, and then I can't go against one of my boys. Tarek's the other guy, but Tarek eventually has got to get the championship back. But I see Kevin Bennett retaining in Toronto. So there's my picks right there. Shawn, best way to get in touch with you. What's going on with the road trips, as well as what's coming up? Anything new?
Okay, so coming up this weekend, hopefully by Sunday at the latest, I'm going to actually, I think, record tomorrow, is going to be episode 91 of the Scumbags of Wrestling podcast. We're available on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and about 8 other different locations. The Ontario Indie Road Trip is happening on Facebook and on YouTube. We cover the this weekend and next weekend happening in Ontario. So you're going to be anywhere close to a show just by hopping into a car, getting on a bus, anything, hitching a ride. Enjoy independent wrestling wherever it's coming to you. Support it, and it's going to bloom. And then we're still waiting on matches, as I said, for the production line. But you can always catch the original 20 episodes, including a special on the Revolt in their quest to get the tag team titles in Smash. And those are all on YouTube as well.
All right. Very good. And best way to get in touch with me right there, cwnonline.ca. That is my baby. Work schedules. Man, you know what? If I could do this as a living, making a bunch of money, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But anyways, if you ever see the site slow down, and I don't mean, dial-up days, I'm talking just lack of content. It just means I've been busy, parenting, letting my wife get her keys out of the door, whatever the case may be. So, but anyways, best way to get in touch with me, cwnonline.ca. There is my email address, chris@cwnonline.ca. And then the best way to get in touch with the show is Thursday Night Throwdown at outlook.com. Any kind of guests you want to see, any questions you have for us, what you want to see in the future, is Tyson an old man? You can answer that question as well. Send us an email, but social media as well. We are all over the place. So go ahead.
I do have one thing, though, because we were just previewing tomorrow night's show. What we normally do with when we go attend shows is preview again live and hype up the show on Facebook, get people to come to the show if they haven't already got their tickets. So tune in to us live on Facebook before the show, before the first bell, intermission, and hopefully after the final bell, we're going to recap everything. So it will be an impromptu version of Thursday Night Throwdown and Scumbags of Wrestling podcast all in one tomorrow night.
So more of us.
More of us. If you haven't gotten tired of us already.
We're going to break the internet. All right, that'll do it for us tonight, everybody. Hopefully, like I said, get out to independent wrestling here in London, Ontario tomorrow. I mean, you can't beat $10 if you're a student. That's cheap. Last time I think I went to the movies, I think we spent $65 between my wife and I, and that's not cheap. But anyways, that is it. Oh, one more comment here. Nope, Ed says great job. Thank you very much, Ed. We'll see you at work this weekend. But that will do it, folks, for Thursday Night Throwdown for this week. Check out Shawn, Scumbags of Wrestling, through Facebook as well as his social media. Check out the Ontario Indie Road Trip. And I'm kind of stalling because I'm trying to get rid of banners and stuff like that. But that is it, everybody. And if you're listening on Anchor or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, thank you very much for listening. And we will see you next Thursday. And we will see you tomorrow night if you're at Fanshawe College. Thanks a lot, Shawn, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
And we'll leave you with this lasting picture of the two guys who are going to be tearing each other from limb to limb tomorrow. So here we go. And see you guys next week.